Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about my dadbod strength standard. You know, this is one of these standards that I put out, and I'm just showing some clips from this week, just my normal training work sets to show that no, this is not even unrealistic. I literally can rep out more weight than everything on this standard all day long at the age of 48. So my dadbod strength standard, which seems to be controversial with people, is that I expect men in their 40s, when you're 40 years old, and this is assuming you've been working out, right? I expect you to have the ability to bench, 315. I don't think this is unreasonable to strive towards. Let me put it that way, to at least strive towards it as realistic goals, right? Bench 315, squat 405, deadlift 500, be able to do 10 pull-ups. Okay. Now, before anyone talks trash, you just watched me do an easy triple with 550 on the deadlift. I didn't even take that to failure. There was no grinding. All right, 500 box squat, below parallel, 12-inch box. That is harder than a back squat. Watch me walk over. I did a 3x3 with a pause bench with 315. Okay, three sets of three. I can triple. I can do 4 reps with it. Okay. Then you're watching me do weighted pull-ups with a 45-pound plate. So I don't want to hear anyone talk about this nonsense of how difficult this is. I'm 48. It's harder at 48 than it was at 40. All right. Now, yes, I have a powerlifting background, but let's come over and let's talk about the point. And people say this is unrealistic. What about? Well, what have you guys been doing in the gym all this time? Like when I give these numbers, I am saying this is stuff to strive for. This is kind of an ideal, but it's not even powerlifting strong per se, right? It's not even powerlifting strong. What I'm saying with striving towards this ideal is looking at the fact of not wasting your years in the gym, guys. Because tons of guys, when we get to this point, have been working out for years and years. Working out for years, and people say, well, I trained for different. Did you not gain muscle? So here's kind of my point. If you spent a decade of your life in the gym doing 10 rep sets, why didn't you build muscle? Why didn't you follow some basic progressive overload and eat protein? Because here's the thing. We can argue about optimal. We can argue about all this stuff all day long. We can argue about that. But what if you just came in for 30 minutes 3 times a week and you did some basic lifts or you did nothing but straight hypertrophy training? Did you not build your glutes and your pecs and your triceps up? Do you not have any quads? Did you not do any leg work? Because here's the thing. If you made some progress every single year, eventually you're going to have some muscle on you. And so when I give these standards, I'm like, guys, these are almost the side effect. Because most of your strength will come from your muscle mass. So if guys just came to the gym and trained their whole body, they didn't neglect, well, I'm just going to skip legs for 6 years. Okay. And I brought this up. Someone said, well, I like to do a lot of dumbbell pressing. I like incline. Okay. So, you were maybe built up to doing sets of 12 with a 185 on the incline. You see where I'm going with this? Well, you should have a pretty big chest. You did a lot of cable press downs. You're like, man, I didn't do all this other stuff, but I did lots and lots and lots and lots of push downs and press downs and kickbacks. It's like, so you built triceps. So you have a pecs and you have triceps. Well, you should be able to walk in and in a very short period of time be able to bench a decent weight. Well, I didn't do you didn't do pull-ups. You cared about your physique or gaining muscle. You didn't do any pull-ups. Are you serious? Okay. Well, if you did enough lat pull downs and machine rows, you probably, if you're not fat, you probably did build enough strength to do 10 pull-ups. So hop over and let's work on, let's test your pull-ups. It's real simple, guys. See where we're going with this? Same thing with the squatting. I mean, I need people to understand, like when you guys have seen me put up clients that have a 600 squat, right? I put Perry stuff up. I think he tossed up a 615 before on camera like it was nothing a few years back, a client of mine. Do you think we sat around squatting all day? That was built on machines. So I don't want to hear, well, this 405. Look, yeah, I get it. He had good genes. I get it. He's an untested lifter. But think about that for a moment. He ended up hitting 700 in a meet without wraps later. Completely raw. Weigh in 220. Okay? Let's come over to the point. We built most of that on a leg press. We did good mornings. We did hamstring work. Right? So that's my point. You're telling me that you came in and leg pressed and hack squatted and did all this quad and glute work for years and years and years and maybe a little back squatting? You did this for 10 years, 15 years, guys? With any progressive overload? I'm talking modest progressive overload, guys. Super modest progressive overload. Then you should have built the foundation to be able to do these things. And that's the point I'm making. These are not unrealistic to strive for. And then people say, well, I didn't get that. Well, whatever, you're 40 now. Well, let's say you got 5 more years. You know that you goofed off a little too much. You're 40. You got this whole dad bod thing going. Well, let's get in and actually put some muscle on and move a little bit of weight. Right? And let's say set it for the next 4 or 5 years that you strive towards reaching this. But it's so controversial. People say, well, what about body weight? Well, what about muscle? Well, the body weight part is only because you gained muscle. Did you guys not do hypertrophy work? Did you do nothing but cardio? Because again, if you came in the gym and followed even some basic progression, even if it was you spent 80% of your time on machines, didn't you build muscle? Did you like just never train your core so you can't squat or deadlift? Did you not train your chest so you can't bend? Like what's the problem, guys? Did you build muscle or not? And if you're looking at these and people are saying as long timers who've just focused on progression in general and trained decently, not even amazing, just decently, you didn't build muscle? Like, why didn't you bother to gain any muscle? You went to the gym for years and years. You're now 40. You didn't make any gains? Well, then it's time to step back and say, I'm going to correct that. And it's because old man strength is a thing. It is a thing. And that's the point I'm making. This is not unrealistic. And just because you're 40 doesn't mean you can't move some respectable weight. That is bullshit. That's the point I'm making.